Okay, welcome. This is Kingdom Economic Forum in partnership with the New African Concept. We greet you. Last week, we started a very interesting topic. If you are joining us for the first time, in the next 3 months, we are looking at the philosophy of nation building. And last week, we started with the foundation. We are saying that nation building, we try to explain the difference between a nation and a state. We're able to let you know that a state is the well-defined, having boundaries, political, let's say governance and institutions, sovereignty, that's the state. And we said nation has to do with our identity, our cultural language. That is the nation. And we concluded by saying that Ghana and most of the African countries are states, but there's a need for us to grow to become a state nations. And when we were concluding on that, this key problem or issue came up: the mismatch between colonial era states and pre-colonial nations. And we thought that no, this is the biggest problem that we need to address. Before the white men came, our forebears were living in state and nationhoods. The Ashanti Kingdom, all the kingdoms you can mention. And then the colonial master came in and they used this. They brought their statehood, decided to some aspect. They said they put Africa map somewhere and started sharing. So one of the most profound and persistent challenges facing modern Africa is this mismatch. This structural legacy shapes politics, conflict, identity, and development across the continent. So today we want to look at the challenges that this mismatch between the colonial era states and pre-colonial nations. The challenges that we are facing is coming from this thing. So join us as we explain to you these challenges. We believe that we will not be able to exhaust it. Maybe, as we told you last week, this year's program is going to be more practical. So in our next episode, we're going to look at the practical ways of solving this problem. And believe me, this is what has to be discussed on our various airwaves. Not these political tension, but the real problem is what we're going to discuss. For Ghana to succeed, for Africa to succeed, this is the real problem. We are trying to mix two things that we have not understood it very well, and that is why we are struggling. So, Doc, once again, welcome.
Thank you so much. Yes, and I'm really happy with this topic we are treating, especially because, just like you rightly said, this is the main crux of our issues. And if we really don't understand and then apply ourselves to it, we will be going merry-go-round, we'll be making several efforts. And in fact, since independence,
we've made a lot of efforts.
Several efforts, be it economic efforts, financial efforts, a lot of efforts have been made. But as we've always said, if you cannot properly diagnose a problem, then you will not be able to prescribe the right solution.
Sure.
And hence you are going to waste a lot of time, efforts, and resources. So your genuine, to be genuine is not enough. To have a genuine intention is not enough.
Good intentions
with
limited knowledge
it may lead to frustrations, wastage here and there. So we thank God for that. We know, at least from basic social studies or history, just like you rightly said, we were living in nations. So to make it easier. When we say nations, think of it as our tribes and then kingdoms as we used to Africa before the coming of the white man. So we were living in nations which were expressed as empires, kingdoms, and then tribal settlements.
Sure.
So we had the old Ghana Empire, the Songhai Empire, the Mali Empire, and then we also had maybe the kingdoms. So the Bono, the Yoruba, Ashanti, etc., and then the tribal settlements.
Sure.
Now that was the nation.
That was the nation.
And we said that the nation had a sense of identity and belonging.
Wow.
And given those times, it was more of wars. And people were ready to die for their nation. And at least we know from Ashanti history, the sense of belonging was there, and then it was so strong.
Very strong.
Very, very strong.
Dr. Tinubu Kodwa, you mentioned, allowed himself to be buried alive together with Edumakase Hene. Edumakase Kese, yeah.
Because I understand Konfanochi said one must lead the battle, but he must be the first to be killed. So he is to be unarmed. And then one too is to be buried alive.
That's the Edumakase Kese chief.
And then I think they decapitated another person. I think that was the Shiva Kodria. And then they look at the
prepared
extent
to die for their nation.
And that was that strong element. What we are talking about as the African context, it has actually been visited with the Western world. Because the Western world, in fact, our world did not start as states. So the Western world, they were also
nations.
They were also nations.
They were nations.
And that is why when we come to the solution, we'll have to look at what they did, take the good aspect, and then modify it and contextualize it to bring, because when you look at the Greeks, for instance, it was the same thing. We had Spartans. So we had Spartans, we have, the Parthians, they were all living in tribes. And the Spartans were ready to die. The Athenians were ready to die. But something happened, and now they came together as Greek, as one big body. So now back to what we were saying. So we were living in nations here in Africa.
Sure.
And we had strong commitment, strong sense of belonging, strong identity, and then a genuine love for our various nations. Then comes the white man. And we know from 1471, and then those structures, then came slavery, the slave trade, which was a commercial thing, and then came colonialism.
Berlin Conference, 1884-85.
Yes.
That's where they
that was where, so
border.
Yes, so in the colonial setting, so that was where the Berlin Conference was had.
Okay, but that would
so
be the
to them,
yeah,
it was, they were looking at it from purely an economic point. So they were looking at, okay, this territory is mine, this area is mine, so that I can milk them. So they were not doing that, factoring in the ethnicity,
language,
culture, those things. They didn't care.
Maybe I think I came in too quick, but it's in terms of the challenges. This one will fall under artificial borders and divided nations.
Yes,
that's what we are trying.
So the introduction of the artificial borders, which was alien to us. We didn't know anything. All this while we knew our nationhood or nations, as we were, and our kingdoms, scattered, whatever. Yes, whether at the tribal level, kingdoms or empires, scattered all across Africa. That's what we were used to. So the introduction of the colonial structures, it was meant by them to help gain control.
True, that's it. You're right.
Now, when they came, and then now we had independence.
Yeah.
Those structures were left.
Were left, yeah.
And then they went. But we have also been used to those structures. And now the problem we have is we are operating under the colonial structures with the mindset of the pre-colonial nationhood. This is our problem.
Biggest problem. That's where we
in
are.
Africa.
Operating with colonial structures, with the mindset of pre-colonial nationhood.
Yes. So our operations, our systems, our institutions, and then everything is riding on the wheels of the colonial system,
states, yeah.
which is statehood.
Statehood.
So we can confidently say that
Was
it
introduced.
was the Western world or the white man
Who introduced
that introduced
statehood.
Statehood. And statehood comes with borders. Statehood comes with constitution.
Sure,
Statehood
institutions.
comes with politics because it is a political legal entity. So those things which were all alien to our context, it was introduced from through the colonial structures.
Yeah.
However, so though we have introduced that as our operational wheels, we said that nationhood was internal, it was psychological. So we are operating with the mindset of the pre-colonial nationhood under the wheels of, or under the operationalization of statehood or colonial statehood.
Yeah.
And this is our problem.
This
So
is
this is the
problem.
main mismatch,
Mismatch.
which has brought all the challenges. I'm sure we'll be touching on. On some of the challenges.
So the challenges, the first one has to do with artificial borders.
Artificial borders.
And divided nations. And the challenge, as we speak now, national unity is harder to build now, as we speak. When significant part of your people live across a border, because we have some of your tribe men living in another state.
Country, another state.
Yes. So you won't have even cross-border tensions. If you go to Rwanda and Burundi, you know the Hutus and the Tutsis were in these two countries. Now, because of statehood, they are fighting. There's a cross-border issue.
Yes.
Come to Somali and Somaliland. You know, now Somaliland, it says that they are nations. Now they are trying to get that statehood, and that's where the challenge is coming from. The tension is coming. So that's one. Another problem, maybe, Doug, you can expand on, is weak national identity and state legitimacy. Sorry.
Yes.
Weak national identity and state legitimacy. Can you expand on this one?
Yes. So we said that nationhood brings about identity.
Identity, sure.
And because we are operating with the pre-colonial nationhood or national identity,
Okay.
the citizens. So this is where I was coming from when I was saying that
Ghana is a state.
it's a state,
But not a nation.
not yet
a nation.
a nation.
You're perfectly right.
Yes, so this is where it was coming from. So we have weak identity, national identity, but we have strong tribal identity,
yeah.
which was our pre-colonial nationhood. So in pre-colonial times, our commitment and loyalty was not to Ghana,
No.
as, let's say, a state. It was actually
Leaders.
to the
Tribe leaders.
nation, which is the tribe, the kingdom,
yeah.
and that was what we loved, for which we are willing to
Die for. Yeah.
So now in Ghana, we are thinking of Ashanti more than
Ghana. Yeah.
We are thinking of, maybe Achim
more than
Ghana. We are thinking of this more than Ghana.
Yeah.
So any group of association, that is where the political parties. So the political parties was introduced. It is part of the package of statehood.
Yeah.
Because there must be political context and then democracy.
Democracy.
These are deeper questions. So that's where it is coming from. because our foundations are weak,
yeah.
we don't see it as a context to see how we can thrive our nation.
Yeah.
Because our state, or yes,
Yeah.
because in our minds we are looking at where the biache. This is now my time.
Yeah.
Now I am also coming to also enjoy myself.
Yeah.
When I also go, then you also come and then enjoy yourself. So our loyalty, the problem we have is that our loyalty is towards our associations or affiliations. We could be political parties, we could be tribes or clans, or or we could be even religion.
Yeah.
Yes, rather than
the
Ghana.
State.
So we don't think Ghana first. We talk it with its slogans. We have it on billboards, and then we maybe sing around it. Inwardly, our commitment is more towards our affiliations, whether religious affiliations, tribal affiliations. Well, that is what we knew, and this is our greatest hurdle. So it has produced a weak
national identity.
Let
me add that the state is seen as alien in position.
Very alien.
Not an organic outgrowth of shared identity. You hinted on loyalty. Loyalty often remains with the sub-national ethnic or clan group rather than the state. The challenge, however...
That is the challenge.
The challenge, however, is low levels of civic nationalism, making collective action, task compliance, and sacrifice for nation difficult.
Very difficult. Very, very, very. What we are discussing is literally we are running. It is like we are running an X-ray on Ghana.
On Ghana, that's it.
It is really bringing out, and this is not only Ghana. This is our issue. This is our serious issue.
And then the next problem is governance as a zero-sum game. What it means is that in multi-ethnic states with no history of shared governance, politics becomes a competition for ethnic supremacy rather than a contest of ideas.
Yes.
Ethnic outbidding, politicians mobilize support along ethnic lines. And that's what we see around.
We see around.
The challenge now is that winner takes all systems lead to marginalization, exclusion, and cyclical violence. This is the problem.
if you remember, I've made mention of it before. The two issues.
Yeah.
The winner takes it all, which is the power state, and then also the welfare state.
The welfare state
create dependency. And that is exactly what we've read. Very, very, very serious. So as we are within the state, we are more partisan, and then we are more tribalistic. Rather than our state really advancing. So when we get the opportunity, and then these are so when I get the opportunity at the workplace
as a DC, as an MD,
I am just looking at how I can push my tribesmen, so that they will come and fill up the place. Because my loyalty is foremost to them. And then it creates a whole lot of tension. So we want to be. So our political parties are nations of themselves, because it also they have there's that sense of belonging. So our various political parties are also nations. However, we must have a communal or a corporate nation which overrides every kind of sub-nation. So political parties are nations, religious fraternities are nations. Tribes, they are all nations, and there's nothing wrong with that. But we need a sense of a generic nationhood, which overrides political parties, religious interests, tribal interests, and then we say that as a nation, Ghana, this is our set of values, and this is where we are going as a people. So it's sad.
Another challenge, though, is resource conflict. and uneven development.
Obviously.
You know, the colonial economies were extractive
Yes.
and regionally uneven, leaving legacies of regional inequality. Post-independence governments often favored their ethnic homeland in development, reinforcing perception of state bias. The challenge is that resource-rich regions, often inhabited by a specific ethnic group, may seek succession because they don't identify with the central state. So, because he sees that the resource that is supposed to be used to develop, there is no.
Yeah.
And another challenge is that institutional fragility. I think you have said it in past, but here, as I indicated, the colonial states were designed for control and extraction, not inclusive governance or service delivery. Because of that, the post-independent states inherited centralized authoritarian structures ill-suited for managing diversity. And the challenge is that weak institutions cannot mediate ethnic competition, leading to patronage, corruption, and state capture by dominant groups. So we are sharing some of the the challenges this mismatch
has brought.
The other one is the security challenges and militarization of identity. When the state is seen as belonging to others, marginalized groups may form insurgencies or self-defense militias. State security forces often become ethnicized, seen as protecting the regime rather than all citizens.
This is serious.
And the challenges: proliferation of armed groups, protracted conflicts, and human rights abuses by state and non-state actors.
Yeah.
We are discussing about the mismatch between the states and the colonial states and the pre-colonial nations. Undermining of social cohesion and trust. That's another problem. Colonial divide and rule tactics eroded pre-colonial social contracts and intergroup relations.
Yeah.
Post-colonial leaders sometimes perpetuate these divisions to maintain power. Challenges: deep intergroup suspicion, making national dialogue, reconciliation, and consensus building extremely difficult. Look at the Boku case in point.
Yeah.
It's all part of some of these things that we are struggling. And another problem, is complications of democracy and representation. First past the post-electoral system is deeply divided societies can lead to permanent majorities and minorities. Let me take it again. First past the post-electoral systems in deeply divided society can lead to permanent majorities and minorities. Challenge: how to design electoral system, federal arrangements, and power sharing that fairly represent all groups without hardening ethnic identities is the main challenge we are faced.
I think that with this point you've just raised, that is why a good number of people and then even scholars seem to raise concerns on the subject of democracy in Africa.
In Africa,
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think some time ago we
touched on that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And this is where it is coming from. Because the strength of democracy is with the masses.
Yeah.
But these masses are not objective enough. Their loyalty is to their affiliations.
Sure.
So it means that if there is a way to have more of such numbers, they will determine the people who rule.
That's a point.
And the people may not be the best for us at a point.
You're right.
But because they just have the numbers. Because democracy is more or less a game of numbers.
Sure.
So if there is a way we can produce more numbers of these people, then they can have perpetual majority, as he said it. And now the people, the scholars or the people who critique it, or philosophers may say that no, such a system will then, so in many places, democracy is assuming a form of quasi-autocracy. And then they are using it to still extract
from the
people, and then destroying them, and then that is just about that.
Wow.
That is so sad.
So if you are listening to us, we are trying to look at the challenges that this mismatch between colonial statehood and then pre-colonial nationhood, how we can bring the problems we are faced with. The foundation is what we are discussing.
Yeah.
Another point is that impaired economic integration and development. Borders divide natural economic zones and kinship-based trade networks. So the challenge is that high traction costs for cross-border trade, smuggling, and informal economies that evade the state.
A lot.
And the last one is that external intervention and new colonialism. Former colonial powers and new global actors often exploit internal divisions to advance their interests. So what? So now the challenge is that sovereignty is undermined. Ghana, we on paper we are sovereign. It's on paper, but IMF can do nonsense with whatever you are doing. Conflicts are prolonged, and governments may prioritize foreign alliance over domestic cohesion. And that is exactly what is going on in Africa. Maybe, Doug, you can summarize what we have discussed today.
I'll use a case in point to summarize it.
Yeah.
I'm sure some days or weeks past, we had the Constitutional Review Committee.
Yeah.
They tendered in some suggestions, which I think that they are looking at it. One of it was the proposal that the presidential term limit should move from 4 years to 5 years.
Sure.
Yes, and so these ones are part of the structures. Now, the problem is not just the movement from the 4 to the 5. Naturally, it is not a bad suggestion.
Sure.
But the context or the soils upon which these things are to be implemented, that is where the problem is.
Yeah.
So the suggestion then becomes there are foundational things that must be sorted. Else, the movement from 4 to 5, meaning if it is 2 terms, it becomes 10 years. So the assumption is so that to give the person enough time to. So logically, it makes sense. But there are deeper issues, and these are the deeper issues. The deeper issues is that the commitment of the people is not to driving Ghana forward. It is rather for, parochial interest. Either it is partisan, religious, or tribalistic. So in that sense, moving from 4 to 5 does not solve the problem.
Even it makes it difficult for us to
makes it difficult. It makes it difficult. That's why at least the 4 years I might have survived the Fourth Republic, because at least we know that in all our misdeeds, every 4 years we have the chance to, do something like that. So imagine you get leaders who are not pulling weight, and then you have an extended period per the constitutional, mandate to continue or to proliferate in that mess. And mind you, because of our system, we have weak institutions.
Sure.
One of the strengths of democracy is strong institutions.
Yeah.
So that even if accidentally a bad leader appears, the institution will put him in check. So these suggestions, most of the suggestions that have tended in are good.
Assuming all things be equal,
all
other things be equal, suggestion.
Yes. So there are ceteris paribus issues. but we must be careful in our adoption of them.
Yeah.
I only hoped that these discussions would have surfaced. And we realized that no, let's put all suggestions on hold. Or
Let's solve the
most
problem.
suggestions on hold. And commit to, when we solve these foundational stuffs.
We don't need, if the person come for 1 year, he can do something better.
If 1 year,
Yeah,
what the
can
person can do in 1 year, because the 4 years, he's not thinking of, I mean, but the day we are swearing him in, he's thinking of how to maintain power. And then the various appointments he has to make, he is also thinking of my party people and then my ethnic people. So these are the issues, because I always say, Edidija, when these issues are solved and appointments are made so nice.
By merit.
By merit, not by any kind of issue. Even 2 years, what the person can achieve. And after all, we know that it is governance is to be, I mean, a continuous.
Yeah.
It must be continuous.
Yeah.
So you cannot do everything. So I had 2 years, I had 3 years, I had 4 years. This is what I was able to do. Then
the next person comes.
The baton goes. And I know that there is an enshrined system that authorizes the one taking over to make sure that the projects and then where I got to is also, I mean, continue. I'm actually doing a research on the cost of abandoned projects from independence. I'm not done, but the amount and then it is just devastating. Wow. Just devastating. Yeah. So in summary, I will say that there are foundational matters, and this is where the issue is. And I believe in other episodes we will explore the efforts that have been made so far by some countries in dealing with this tension, and then also from the Kingdom Economic Quarters, Forum Quarters, what we also believe ought to really be the way forward.
So we came your way today as part of the broad discussing philosophy of nation building. This month is being used to look at the foundation. Today we discussed the mismatch between colonial era states and pre-colonial nations. And we have concluded that until we solve this foundational problem, the superstructure will not stand the test of time. It will crumble. Yeah. And we have shared with you the structural legacy that shapes politics, conflicts, identity, and development across the continent. We believe that if we're able to solve these foundational problems, all the suggestions that the Constitutional Review, like Doug has mentioned, we will be able to come up with a proper recommendation. Next week, what we will discuss is that we will try and come up with a solution out of these problems we have identified, because we are discussing the philosophy of nation building. Having identified these problems, we need to come up with a strategy. So we'll share with you how to deal with these mismatch so that we pave way in order for us to be able to come up with the philosophy that our nations can be built. This has been Kingdom Economic Forum. If you have not yet downloaded the YouthWise app, we want to encourage you, do that. Parents, share the downloads with your children. Let them, it will help them in taking decisions. Life is about decision making. But remember, you have to know the consequences of your decision before you take the decision. And that is what this YouthWise app is up to. Until we come your way, please continue to like our page, Kingdom Economic Forum, share, and see you in our next episode. Bye-bye.